In our app, if you hit the minus button too many times, we get a negative number of cups of coffee. That's a problem because what does that even mean? We probably shouldn't allow this to happen in our app. And the earlier we deal with it within our app, then it'll cause less headache for us later on. For example, we don't want to submit a bunch of orders to the coffee shop with a negative number of cups of coffee. And at the other end of the spectrum, there probably should also be a maximum number of coffees that we allow the user to order at a single time. We can't really serve 10,000 cups of coffee at a time. Now that we've identified the problem, let's decide on a better behavior for our app. How about if we only allow the customer to order between 1 and 100 cups of coffee? In our app, when the user tries to press the minus button and it's already displaying 1 cup of coffee, then the quantity shouldn't go below that. Likewise, if there are 100 cups of coffee and the user continues to press the plus button, the quantity should stay at 100. We can do this by something called input checking. By checking what the user inputs into the app, we can recognize bad input as soon as possible and then prevent the app from continuing the normal flow of execution. For this quiz, make this change in your app. Assume that the app always starts at 2 cups of coffee when you first launch it. To find the right place to make the code change, think about when the problem first occurs. What button does the user press? And what code is triggered by that button? Since the app has different behavior depending on whether the number of cups of coffee is valid or not, think about using a control flow statement, like an if-else statement. That way the logic in the app can be different based on a certain condition. If the user is trying to order a number of cups of coffee outside of these bounds, then figure out how to stop the app from continuing. Once you make these changes, answer these questions. Which method did you modify so that the quantity does not go below 1 cup of coffee? Write your answer in this box. Then, which method did you modify so that the quantity doesn't go above 100 cups of coffee? Write your answer in this box. As a hint, it may be useful for you to know that you can put a return statement anywhere inside a method, and that will cause you to exit the method early. Then the rest of the code after that will be skipped. Check the instructor notes for more details. As a challenge, you can extend the app to also add a toast message that explains to the user why the quantity isn't updating when it hits these bounds. This is what the toast message could look like in the app when you've hit the lower bound. If I hit the minus button a bunch of times to try to go below 1 cup of coffee, it shows this toast message. You cannot have less than 1 coffee. By the way, if you want to test that the upper bound works, instead of tapping the plus button 99 times, you can just make a temporary change in the code. You can change the initial global quantity variable in the Java file and the initial quantity value in the XML to start at a higher number like 99 instead of just 2. Then you'll only have to hit the plus button a couple of times to go over 100 cups of coffee. I highly recommend testing this to make sure that your code works as expected for the upper bound. When you're done with all of this, go ahead and continue.